I slept with my ex-boyfriend's best friend after he cheated on me. At 25 years old, had been with my now ex-younger 27 years old for over 2 years when I came back early from a work trip and walked in on him in bed with my younger sister for years at that. He swore on his life it was a mistake, a one-time thing. Apparently, they were both tipsy and that she came on to him. Before this, I was really close with my sister and she came over all the time for us to hang out too, so they obviously have gotten to know each other too, so I have no idea if this was actually a one-time thing or not, and I quite frankly don't care to know. Once was enough. I immediately went to stay at a friend's house needing space and he continued to spam my phone, but I ignored him. I'm not gonna go into specific details, but I reached out to his best friend who was actually someone I knew before my ex met him and explained what happened and we slept together. I went back to our shared place with a hickey on my neck and told him that I slept with his best friend, so we are even now, then broke up with him. He's currently fumming and telling practically anyone who will listen what an asshole I am for doing that to him and ruining his friendship after he made one little mistake. I honestly don't think I was an asshole here. I mean, God, he literally slept with my little sister in my own bed. Was I petty and vindictive? Yes, absolutely, and I can fully admit that, but I don't think this qualifies for asshole, but I would appreciate an outsider's perspective here.
I read a hurtful journal entry about my sister-in-law after my brother and his wife read my private journals. Growing up, I, 32 years old, used to write a journal. To my knowledge, no one knew about it or read the heartfelt thoughts I recorded, and if they did, they never disclosed that my privacy had been breached. Journaling became a source of comfort, so I continued well into my teenage years. As a male, I felt a bit self-conscious about it, so I used to hide this fact. My parents are moving, and since they've had this house since my childhood, there's a lot of packing, organizing, and decluttering to do. As they're older, they need some help, so my brother, 39 years old, and I came over to assist. While helping them, I found my brother and his wife, 38 years old, huddled together, snickering as they read through a journal. It was just a regular composition book, but instinctively I knew it was one of my special journals by their stupid giggles. So I asked, "Isn't that mine?" as I walked over. I didn't know exactly what they were reading, but I knew it was obviously personal and none of their business. I told my brother to give it back, and when I reached for it, he told me to chill and snatched it back. We ended up wrestling over the book, causing enough commotion for my parents to come and ask what was going on. He says something like, "You guys have to hear this," and starts reading the entry out loud. His wife is outright laughing, and he's struggling to read full sentences without breaking into laughter. The memory of what they're reading comes flooding back, and I feel a wave of huge embarrassment. I was 15 at the time, and my 22-year-old brother had just started dating a girl, his now wife, who I thought was hot and way out of his league. That journal, without exaggeration, is nearly 2 decades old, and yet they were getting a real kick out of themselves, exchanging comments to my detriment and wanting to take pictures of the page. My annoyance turned to irritation. Yes, she was attractive, but within 2 years of their relationship, I realized she was ugly inside. I still feel the same way today. I vividly remember writing something harsh about her in one of my journals when I was 18. It stands out because it happened right after my grandmother passed away, and her behavior during our time of mourning felt selfish and insensitive. She's still that kind of person. So, I retrieved the journal that contained the particular passage and read it aloud, too. I'll admit what I wrote was mean and about how negatively I perceived her character. I told them everything written was my most up-to-date view of her, as nothing had changed about them. I truly find them insufferable and unpleasant people. Things went quiet, and then my brother acted like he wanted to fight me. They eventually left. Now, days later, my brother is blaming me for triggering her depression, which I didn't even know she was struggling with. He says she's been questioning her character, and my words are really getting to her. I reminded him of the passage I wrote when I was 15, the one they read aloud and found so amusing, and suggested he refer back to that if he wants to cheer her up. He's telling anyone who will listen that I unnecessarily hurt his wife's feelings and that I'm an asshole.
I told my stepmom she was right when she accused me of not respecting her grief. My dad got remarried after my mom died. I was 8. She was very excited about meeting me. I was way less excited, like not excited at all. My mom was dead less than 2 years ago, and I knew she and my dad were talking about getting married. I hated it. I didn't get why dad was doing all that so quickly and why they had to get married at all. I said it in front of her when dad told me I shouldn't look so down, and she told me I should wipe all that sadness from my memory because she was here now and she'd bring the happiness back and make me forget all about what made me sad. Dad was like, oh my God, and he told her how bad that sounded. I refused to let her touch me when she tried to apologize, and I told her to leave me alone. She talked to me alone a few days after that and told me I could at least try. That dad wasn't sad anymore because of her, so I could be too. I told her she couldn't make me forget my mom had died. She told me I never gave her the chance to. I told her I didn't like her and I thought she was a bad person. She was horrified by an 8-year-old saying that to her face like I did, but I meant it. I still mean it. She tried so hard to get close to me, but I didn't want to get close to her. I was quiet around her. I didn't open up to her or share anything with her. My dad said us sit on this pre-wedding girls' day because he wanted me to be closer to her during the wedding, which only happened a few months after I met her. I ignored her the whole day. She got pregnant right after the wedding, and she told me I should be celebrating all this happy news and this new life, and instead I looked like I wanted to cry. I told her she'd never get what it's like. We had a really rough time during her first pregnancy. She wanted to include me. I wanted nothing to do with her pregnancy. I wanted nothing to do with her. It frustrated us both for different reasons. She told me to leave the past behind and look forward to being someone's sister. Then she told me most kids would be happy to have a mom again. I brought up the bad person again. She didn't try this stuff with her other 2 pregnancies. But she did always try to make me like her, and she tried to make me forget. I don't think kindly of her for that. I have no respect for her. I don't even call her my stepmom. That's respectful, and I don't want to be respectful to her. Her mom died not too long ago. She had a really hard time. I didn't care, and I didn't try to comfort her or offer any sympathy or kind words. I have none for her. She confronted me about it, and I told her she'd forget about it eventually. She accused me of disrespect and then said I'm not being respectful of her grief. I told her she was right. She was never respectful of my grief, so I won't be respectful of her grief either. I told her she can wait for her dad to find the woman who will make her forget. She called me heartless. She said I should care enough about her to not say that. I told her I never cared about her.
I refused to pay for my brother's wedding after he invited my ex. So, here's the situation. My 28 years old younger brother, 25 years old, is getting married soon, and I was excited for him until I found out he decided to invite my ex-girlfriend, 27 years old, to the wedding. Now, let me give you some background. We broke up over a year ago, and it was pretty rough. She cheated on me with her best friend, and it took me months to get over that betrayal. When I found out she was invited, I was furious and reached out to my brother to express my feelings. I told him that I would not attend if she was there. Instead of being understanding, he got defensive and accused me of ruining his big day. He insisted that he wanted her there because they'd become friends since the breakup and that she'd changed. I told him that if I'm not welcome, then I wasn't be attending, and therefore, I wouldn't be covering my share of the wedding expenses, which I had already agreed to pay before the invitation fiasco. Now, my family is pulling me in every direction, saying I'm being petty and ruining my brother's wedding for no reason. They're calling me an asshole for not supporting my brother and for potentially putting a financial strain on his wedding plans. Some even suggested I should just suck it up and attend for the sake of family. I've now decided that I'm not paying for a single thing, and that if he wants to have a wedding with my ex as the guest of honor, it's on him to cover the costs. Am I an asshole for standing my ground and refusing to fund my brother's wedding under these circumstances?